Wrestling Rundown. Ladies and gentlemen, it is our 104th edition of Indie News, rounding out our 2-year anniversary week. And you know who we're talking about. We're talking about the guys that aren't always on TV. We're talking about the little guys, some bigger guys, but they don't get the mainstream push that WWE does or TNA tries to do.
Or Lucha Underground.
Or Lucha Underground.
Because they get their own spot in the midweek wrap-up.
Yeah.
It helps that they're in the middle of the week, too.
It does.
And most of the indie shows are on the weekends, so we just cover the weekend stuff.
Yeah. But I'm going to start off with some results that were not on the weekend. It was actually this past Monday and Tuesday. This was the culmination of the Best of the Super Juniors 23 tournament, and it's from the Miyagi Sendai Sun Plaza Hall. That's a lot of stuff to say.
I was hoping it was this big ship.
Nope, that was last week.
Did they go on Tuesday? Did they go there on Tuesday?
No, Monday and Tuesday were in the same building.
I wanted to just say big ship. Really loud.
So on Monday, we had one more big... there was only one match that was non-Super Juniors, trying to get people points. So I'm going to run through the results there. We had Beretta beat Jushin Thunder Liger. We had Bobby Fish defeat Tiger Mask. Chase Owens defeated Ricochet. Will Ospreay defeated Volador Jr. Rocky Romero defeated Kyle O'Reilly. Matt Sydal defeated David Finlay. Ryusuke Taguchi defeated Gato. And Bushi defeated Kishida. So, on that particular day, that gave Will Ospreay his 8 points, which tied him up with Ricochet, Bobby Fish, and Volador Jr., but because he had beaten all three of them in the tournament prior, he moved on to the finals. Ryusuke Taguchi tied up with Matt Sydal with 10 points in Block A, but he had beat Matt Sydal prior to the tournament, so they both went to the finals. And on Tuesday, we crowned our 2016 Best of the Super Juniors. It is Will Ospreay. He is the youngest Super Junior of all time at the age of 23.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, and it's a big feather in the cap for a young guy coming out of the UK who hasn't gotten a lot of mainstream media attention as far as wrestling is concerned, but this is really going to put him on the map.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, he's been making a lot of big waves because he's made appearances over the last 2 years in like places like PWG and coming over here and doing stuff in major promotions, as well as now being in the Best of the Super Juniors. He had that. It was him and Ricochet. Had that match that.
Yeah, well, the first week, him and Ricochet just set the internet on fire with this match, and then
positive or negative, everyone was talking about it.
Yeah,
and it's that adage that any attention is good attention.
Absolutely, yeah. If you're getting plugged on something, regardless of what it is, you're getting some sort of exposure, and that's exactly what a match like that does. And so, all in all, Will Ospreay becomes the 2016 Best of the Super Juniors.
That's cool, yeah. And it's like if I listen to Colt Cabana's podcast, and somebody comes on and says that match was really good, I'm gonna go watch that match.
Stone Cold liked the match.
Yeah. And then if somebody goes on a podcast and says, that match was the worst thing I've ever seen, I'm probably going to go and watch that match anyways to see what they were talking about.
Exactly.
So, either way, the Best of the Super Juniors made waves and made people watch. I don't remember there being a match last year that was talked about as much as this one.
And it was that match specifically that New Japan was like, okay, we're going to put a few of these matches out for free for people to see.
Yeah.
That happened to be one of them, which is what ignited that whole story. And then there was like 2 or 3 other matches that New Japan released and let people get a taste of what the Super Juniors is all about. And that match is going to live on in infamy, whether it's positive or negative, depending on your opinion on that type of wrestling. But that is it for my first half of results. I'm going to sandwich his, so I'm going to let him talk about what happened this past weekend.
Yeah, so on Friday the 10th, we had Evolve 62. We opened up with Fred Yehi defeating Tony Nese, and Tony Nese got on the mic and talked about the fact that he's been in a slump in Evolve for pretty much the past year, hasn't been winning a lot of matches. He's been disappointed in the direction the Premier Athlete brand went, so he wants to remove any traces of himself from the Premier Athlete brand, and says that he's officially entering himself into the Cruiserweight Open type match they were having at Evolve 63 for people who are in the WWE Cruiserweight Classic. So basically he's entering himself into the Cruiserweight Classic by putting himself in this match.
So we'll be seeing Tony Nese on WWE programming very soon.
Then we had All Ego Ethan Page defeat Darby Allin. I just want to say, if you haven't seen the clip, there is a clip
check out the clip
that you'll see. It's floating around the internet right now. Ethan Page press slamming Darby Allin out of the ring into a support beam in the building. We had Matt Riddle defeat Cedric Alexander, which I was a little disappointed because this was Cedric Alexander's Evolve debut.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of like, I was hoping they'd let him come in with a win, but they're really
pushing the hell out of
Matt Riddle. Then we had Catch Point successfully defend the Tag Team Championships against the Bravado Brothers.
All right.
Timothy Thatcher successfully defended the Evolve Championship against Chris Hero. And in the non-sanctioned street fight, EC3 and Drew Galloway defeated Johnny Gargano and TJP.
Wow.
There was a lot of interference. TJP ended up going through a table. Drew Gulak, because TJP is part of Catchpoint, Drew Gulak came out to check on TJP. Earlier, Catchpoint cut a promo where they harped on Chris Hero a lot. So Chris Hero came out and tombstoned to Drew Gulak. And then Johnny Gargano was getting in his face because he was out helping his partner. And so he ended up tombstoning Johnny Gargano as well.
Wow.
So then TJP was left to take finishers for both Galloway and EC3 by himself.
Damn. Well, that'll end the match real quick.
Yes. And then on Saturday the 11th, we had not one, not two, but 3 shows.
Good Lord.
And I'm going to start us off with Combat Zone Wrestling's Tournament of Death 15.
There's a clip on our Facebook if you want to watch Matt Tremont and Ricky Shane Page exchange light tubes.
Yeah.
Just in case you want to see that.
That's from the finals, actually.
Spoiler alert.
So, not that I didn't just spoil that for you, but in the opening match, Ricky Shane Page defeated Tim Donst in Fans Bring the Weapons.
Oh.
That was Donst's choice.
Good choice, Donst.
Then Connor Claxton would defeat Masada in a barbed wire madness. Ricky Shane Page... No, I already said him. I was looking down at the next line already. I was going to go to the second round without finishing the first round. Alex Collin defeated Danny Havoc, which a lot of people were surprised because Danny Havoc is always a front runner to win the Tournament of Death.
Oh.
They had a light tube death match, and then Matt Tremont defeated Jeff Cannonball in the Home Run Derby.
Did you ever find out what the Home Run Derby was?
No, because I was afraid to look it up. Then we had Aaron Williams defeat Ron Mathis, and then we had the second round. Ricky Shane Page defeated Connor Claxton in a match that was called a barefoot rite of passage match, which I'm assuming means they weren't allowed to wear their boots, and all the stuff left over from the original matches were still at ringside.
That is fucked up.
It is, but, there are a couple wrestlers from back in the day that used to wrestle barefoot anyways in CZW.
Really?
Toby Glenn and Necro Butcher.
Okay, I knew Necro Butcher.
He wrestled barefoot sometimes. And then Matt Tremont would defeat Alex Cullen in a sharp shit death match.
So everything?
Apparently. Then we had what was originally supposed to be a one-on-one scaffold match turned into a tornado tag team scaffold match as Lucky 13 and Devin Moore of the Nation of Intoxication would defeat Dale Patricks and G. Raver. Then we had Josh Crane defeat DJ Hyde in a Panes of Glass match, which then prompted Zandig,
the moron from last week,
to come out, accompanied by Blackout, who haven't been a unit in CZW for a long time, And apparently, I don't know necessarily how true this is or to what extent, but reading the review that I read is apparently they buried DJ Hyde in a freshly dug grave. And Zandig said that he was taking his company back.
Was it all the members of Blackout?
I don't know. They didn't say. It didn't specifically say. But it could be any combination because, I mean, that could be...
Black G's, Eddie
G's,
Kingston, Ruckus, Joker.
Kingston, Joker. Even Jack Evans at one point was in Blackout.
I doubt it. I think if out of all of them, it probably wasn't Jack Evans and maybe not even Kingston.
Yeah.
Because Kingston was in Chikara. Was it the Chikara show, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So probably not.
So probably neither of them. But any of the other guys totally could have been.
Then in the finals, and I didn't even find a stipulation for whatever the finals match was. It did involve light tubes, though.
A lot of light tubes, and it looked like there was. It looked like there was like a cage, like a small cage around the ring.
Yeah,
like,
it's probably an everything death match. Very similar to the one they did at the finals of last year, where they just had like everything happening all at once.
Yeah.
But Ricky Shane Page would defeat the CZW champion Matt Tremont and become the King of Death match, or the Tournament of Death champion, by beating the CZW champion. So you would think that's going to put him right in line for a championship match.
And he beat the champion in the finals.
Yeah.
So
and Matt Tremont was last year's Tournament of Death winner.
Yeah.
So
last year was the year of Tremont.
Yeah, he won the Tournament of Death and the King of the Deathmatch tournament.
And the championship.
Yeah, and the CCW championship.
Yeah. So maybe 2016 is the year of Ricky Shane Page.
Hey, he's cool. So I'd be for that.
I do enjoy Ricky Shane Page.
And then on the same day, Saturday, we also had Evolve 63.
Hey.
We had Cedric Alexander win his second match in Evolve by defeating Fred Yehi. We had the Bravados defeat Darby Allin and Jason Cade. I'm sure there wasn't too much challenge involved in that because Darby Allin was probably very sore. Matt Riddle defeated Trevor Lee. Timothy Thatcher successfully defended the Evolve Championship against Hot Sauce Tracy Williams. Tony Nese won the Cruiserweight Flashpoint match against Johnny Gargano, TJP, Lindsay Dorado, and Drew Gulak. In an Anything Goes match, Drew Galloway defeated Ethan Page, and in his open challenge, Johnny Gargano defeated EC3. So EC3 had that open contract I talked about last week, and it was answered by Johnny Gargano, who had already wrestled once, but he came out and successfully defeated EC3.
Probably trying to get some revenge for what happened
the night before.
The day prior.
And then, lastly, and definitely not leastly, our friends from Chikara. At the Wrestle Factory, they gave us Tightrope. We opened up with the 4-way elimination tag match. This, as I was saying, we knew that Princess Kimberly and Heidi Lovelace was going to be one team. We knew the Osirian Portal was going to be another team. But we also had the United Nations being represented by Prakash Sabar and the Proletariat Boar, the Proletariat Boar of Moldova. I have to do it because Gavin doesn't do it anymore. He's in LA.
That's
Vlad.
True.
Which, nothing against Vlad. I like Vlad. He's doing pretty good. He's growing on me. And then the third team, which I am calling, perhaps...
You mean the fourth team?
Fourth team, yeah. The alternative colony, or the colony leftovers. We had Pinky Sanchez, formerly Pink Ant / Carpenter Ant, and Arctic Rescue Ant.
What?
Yeah. So the first elimination happened where the United Nations were able to eliminate Kimberly and Heidi Lovelace. Due to miscommunication, Kimberly ended up kicking Heidi Lovelace on accident.
Yeah, they've been having some issues since their championship match. So
yeah, and that was able to allow Prakash Sabar to hit the X Factor and pin Heidi Lovelace. Then Pinky Sanchez and Arctic Rescue Ant would eliminate the United Nations.
Yeah!
And then to get the final fall and win the match, the Osirian Portal would defeat Pinky Sanchez and Arctic Rescue Ant. So your boys, the Osirian Portal, are back on track to contention. They've got at least 1 point now.
I like that.
I'm pretty sure it's the one. It could be two. I might be missing one. Then we had Jigsaw making his singles return to the Chikara roster, and he would defeat Oleg the Usurper. Now he's got 1 point.
Oleg posted a picture, and apparently Jigsaw chopped the shit out of him.
I wouldn't be shocked. We had Icarus defeat Missile Assault Man by nefarious means. There was a low blow that the referee didn't see that led into the Blu-ray. Interesting note, post-match, Arctic Rescue Ant appeared and tried to console Missile Assault Man. So, maybe trying to put Extreme Force back together, maybe making Pinky Sanchez a third member? I don't know, but apparently Missile Assault Man basically just shunned Arctic Rescue Ant.
Let's get a 7-man colony.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Let's do that.
Because at Whisper House, there was a lot of camaraderie between Worker Ant and Arctic Rescue Ant. Even to the point where Arctic Rescue Ant jumped in the way of Wani's big kick.
Right, yeah, took the bullet for Worker Ant.
Yeah.
So let's get a 7, like all 7 ants or former ants, whatever you want to call them. Let's just get them all hanging out together.
That would be cool. All right, then we had Eddie Kingston defeat Jaka with 3 back fists to the future.
Wow. Was Eddie just on something, or did Jaka just not go down?
No, Jaka wouldn't go down. Jaka, he's notorious for having the hardest head.
Oh, yeah.
Chikara. So it took 3 back fists to the future to take Jaka down, giving Eddie 4 points towards championship contention. Unfortunately, Eddie has taken very personally a lot of comments that Jakob Hammermeyer has been saying recently, calling himself the king of Chikara. So basically, after the match, Eddie Kingston repeatedly attacked Jaka and beat him down, saying that he wouldn't stop beating on Jaka until Jakob would appear. That forced the referee to reverse the decision, so Eddie Kingston lost all 4 of his points.
Eddie!
Come on, man. Even the referee couldn't get Eddie Kingston off of Jaka. I think Dasher Hatfield and Officer Warren Barksdale came out, and they couldn't pull Eddie off of Jaka. Eventually, Jakob Hammermeyer did come out and laid everyone out with World Star punches, and handcuffed Eddie Kingston to the rope and knocked him out with a World Star punch. Left, not before declaring himself the new War King of Chikara.
Jakob, you're gonna die.
And then when Eddie was taken out of the handcuffs and came to, he just walked to the locker room laughing.
Oh, the Mad King returns.
Yeah. Then we had an interesting note that a man in a dark suit wearing sunglasses and an earpiece was found standing in multiple conspicuous locations during this match and between the next 2 matches. A lot of people wondering if there's a rogue Condor security agent.
That's not good.
Hanging out. But no confirmation on who or what it is. Then we had Hala Wicked and the Batiri defeat Fire Ant and Team NRG in a trios match. After this match, Cobalt would come out to confront the Batiri about their defection to the Legion of Nazbal Dude. And while he was out and talking to the Batiri, Ultramantis Black would appear behind him. He would turn around, get hypnotized by Ultramantis Black, or who is just now being referred to as the Master. And he did the whole take me home thing. And then Cobalt actually grabbed his crystal ball, which is what apparently Ultramantis Black uses to connect to Twitter, is his crystal ball. So he calls it Twitter. And left with the Legion of Nazbal Dude. So we have another member defected from the Chikara roster over to Hollow Wicked's army
Yeah, I've had some words with Kobold over the last couple days on Facebook.
Yeah.
His good goblin stuff is done. Now he's evil goblin again.
I've chosen to stay out of it because, I have a little history.
I'm disappointed.
Me too. Me too. The history I have with Kobold is good history, which is why I didn't say anything.
Oh, all right.
That's how I show my disappointment, is by shunning it. And in the main event, we had the no disqualification match between Juan Francisco de Coronado and Mr. Touchdown, with Dasher Hatfield as the special guest referee, as appointed by Mike Quackenbush earlier this week.
Good call.
Mr. Touchdown would take the victory using no cheating or weapons during the entire match.
Good job, Touchdown. Did one use
He used his flag, he used chairs, he even at one point tried to tie Mr. Touchdown up in the ring apron.
Jeez.
But it was the Avalanche Power Slam, or the top rope Power Slam, which I think is I think that's what he used. That's what I read. And that's one of Dasher's calling cards. Calls it the Grand Slam.
Oh, right.
The Power Slam off the second rope. And then, I guess, post-match, after Dasher rose his hand, Mr. Touchdown went for a hug, and Dasher's still not giving it up yet.
It's still a little wary.
He's still peeved about the whole Touchdown costing them
the challenge of the
Immortals last year.
Well, I think Touchdown's on the right path. The fact that he won that match without any cheating or weapons or anything, he's on a good path to eventually win back the trust of Dasher.
Absolutely.
So I'll go ahead and round out things on the results bit, because we're going to be talking about some Ring of Honor.
Ring of Honor. So there's the time, as per usual. If you watch this, every week we put a time in there for you to skip to if you don't want to be spoiled, because it's going to happen on the television on Wednesday.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah.
We see it on Sunday.
Yeah.
You see it on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Unless you see it on Sunday.
Yeah.
But if you don't want to be spoiled, go to that time. If you do want to be spoiled, keep listening, because here we go.
Yeah. So we open up with a match between the IWGP Heavyweight Champion Tetsuya Naito taking on Moose. Naito, as soon as he came out, dropping the IWGP Heavyweight title at the top of the ramp. He gives no fucks about that title whatsoever. He went down. He has a very interesting wrestling style. He's like I don't care about anything type of guy. Like, Moose kept trying to lock up and he kept walking away, and then eventually they started
like a more serious version of Orange Cassidy.
Pretty much. Like, Orange Cassidy just he doesn't do stuff because he probably can't.
He's lazy.
Yeah. Whereas Naito just doesn't care. He's just whatever.
I think that's why Chuck Taylor initially got Orange Cassidy into the Gentleman's Club, because Orange Cassidy just doesn't give any fucks.
Yeah. So once they started getting into it, it was a great match. A good contrast of styles.
Yeah, Naito's a good worker.
Yes.
I like watching.
He works really well with Moose.
I'm glad he's the champion there. Even though, he's doing the weird, doesn't care gimmick. And,
he's part of the Ungovernables.
Yeah. Doing that kind of shtick, but I haven't not been entertained when watching him wrestle.
Yeah, no, he's very good. And here's the thing: he had none of the Ungovernables at ringside with him, but was able to pick up a clean victory over Moose. He'd rock Moose with a punch, and then Moose would go for a clothesline, and he'd actually capture the arm and flip into a reverse DDT.
Nice.
So Naito picking up the win over Moose.
Fancy moves.
Then we had a tag team match. All Night Express trying to make wrestling great again. So they put out the challenge to Cheeseburger and Jushin Thunder Liger. They would end up picking up the win after Kenny King took Liger out on the outside. So Cheeseburger is unfortunately left to take a 2-on-1 beatdown and ends up taking Kenny King's finisher, which is a fireman's carry, into a full Nelson, a half Nelson slam, which is really impressive to see happen. But then, yeah, they continue to do a little bit of beat down afterwards. They're also starting to point out that they don't really like super kick after super kick after super kick. So there might be a few other people on ANX's hit list as far as making wrestling great again.
That sounds like they're going to go after the Bullet Club.
There is a possibility.
Because if there's one thing that the Bullet Club likes, the Young Bucks specifically, but, Adam Page and Adam Cole also use super kicks.
Indeed they do. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. We find out that next week we're having a 4-on-4 tag team match. That'll be the Bullet Club, represented by the Bucks and the Gorillas of Destiny. They will take on Roddy, Jay Lethal, and the Briscoes. The interesting bit about this is we're getting ready to come up on Best of the World, where we have the Jay versus Jay world title match, and we have Roderick Strong versus Mark Briscoe. So two singles matches are being put as a 4-man contingent to face against the two solidarity teams of the Bullet Club.
Yeah, if I could come up with, like, a good, what you consider an all-star Ring of Honor team for the current roster, I think it would be hard to pick anything better than the Briscoes, Jay Lethal, and Roderick Strong.
Roderick Strong and the Briscoes have been in ROH longer than anyone on the roster. So, and then you add just the pure perfection that is Jay Lethal. Yeah, it's hard to beat that group, but when they're at odds. We had, Mark Briscoe was at commentary, and him and Roddy had some words. So, kind of building the tension there. And we know that Jay Briscoe and Jay Lethal don't like each other. So there's a lot of stuff happening there. So we'll see next week if they can pull it together and make that 8-man tag team match work. We had Silas Young come down and talk about he's having his match against ACH at Best in the World.
He's been posting a lot of videos on Facebook.
He does not like the fact that ACH is into anime and video games, and he's one of these young kids.
These things aren't manly.
Exactly. So he comes out and says that at Best in the World, ACH will find out why they call him the last real man, and ACH will be nothing more than a child living in a make-believe world. He'd start to leave ringside, and he'd actually get into an altercation with a fan wearing an ACH shirt. He ended up shoving the fan, so security had to come down and back him up, and he's jaw-jacking the fan, and he's being an asshole. But as security's backing him up and he's distracted yelling at the fan, ACH has made his way down to ringside and decides to dive onto Silas Young and all of the security team, laying all 5 men out and then celebrating with the fans.
Yeah, I saw a cool video that was posted with Silas Young and ACH, where ACH was hanging out with a couple of the Dragon Ball Z voice actors.
Yes. Yeah, and they were doing the voices. As the guy who does Hercule and the guy who does Boo. So yeah, check out ROH's Facebook page.
And Silas Young was unimpressed.
Well, yeah, because he's a dick.
I think the only things that impress Silas Young are mustaches, boobies, and beer. Manly stuff. Action movies, maybe.
Yeah.
NASCAR.
Boo.
Chuck Norris.
Maybe.
Bowflex.
He might think he's tougher than Chuck Norris.
Bowflex?
Yeah.
At least Bowflex commercials.
Yeah. Then in our main event, we had a rematch of last year's
Hot Sauce.
Best of the Super Juniors finals. That is Kyle O'Reilly versus Kishida. Kyle O'Reilly lost to Kishida last year in the finals, and so he vowed that he would die before he lost to Kishida again. These two had a fan-fucking-tastic match.
And they both died because they exploded.
No. Love the chemistry between the two. Kyle O'Reilly was getting real vicious. He kept going for the left leg of Kishida, while Kishida was actually focusing his attack on the left arm of Kyle O'Reilly. Kyle O'Reilly had Kishida out there, ended up grabbing one of those chairs that's at ringside and doing the knee breaker on one of them,
Ooh.
and then sat Kishida in the chair, got up on the apron and went for that running knee that he does. Kishida moved out of the way, caught him in an arm bar, and both of their weight snapped the chair underneath them. Kishida's catch was fantastic.
Yeah, I expect high stuff out of this match because these guys have wrestled a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Because, I mean, they had their finals match last year, but they were also a lot of tag team altercations.
Yeah, Time Splitters versus Red Dragon.
Yeah, in many tag team matches and, like, three-way tag team matches and four corners tag team matches over the IWGP Junior tag titles.
Absolutely. But then in the finish, we had Kyle O'Reilly with a guillotine on Kishida. Kishida's able to turn that into a Kimura, but after a few rolling and flipping moves, Kyle O'Reilly is able to roll up and pin Kishida. Kyle O'Reilly picking up the win, avenging that loss from last year's Best of Super Juniors.
Good on him.
And that was it for Ring of Honor. Look forward to that 8-man tag team match next week. That should be fun to watch.
And you said you have
I have two real quick news stories. Keeping with the Ring of Honor, over the weekend, Adam Cole was unfortunately hospitalized due to pneumonia. So we're hoping for a speedy recovery for him. He was supposed to have matches with both Chris Sabin and Colt Cabana over the weekend. So Nigel McGuinness was looking for replacements for that. But we hope that Adam Cole gets better soon. And then the other one, we had Zack Sabre Jr. return to action to face Kurt Angle at Rev Pro Wrestling. This is said to be a short but fun encounter. It was like the greatest hits. Both guys getting their shit in.
Yeah.
But Kurt Angle ended up picking up the win over Zack Sabre Jr., which, I mean, that's not something for Zack Sabre Jr. to be upset by, that he lost to freaking Kurt Angle.
Yeah.
So yeah, nice to know that Zack Sabre Jr. is back in the mix. He's probably still going to rest up a little bit because he's got the Cruiserweight Classic in just about a month.
Yeah.
So
he ain't resting too much. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Oh. Well, on that note, let's move into.
Is that a segue?
Let's move into upcoming shows. Oh, let's move into upcoming shows. And I'll let you start off because mine's not till Sunday.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna start off on Friday, the 17th, at AAW presents Killers Among Us.
Oh.
This show is stacked.
You were saying, all right.
I'm excited. I'm gonna find this show if I can somewhere on DVD or something.
Well, let's have it.
Because we're gonna have a 4-way match between Trevor Lee, Moose, Andrew Everett, and Cedric Alexander. We're gonna have Drew
One of these
Gulak.
things is not like the other.
Yeah, I know. Trevor Lee's really
Big
hairy.
old fuck all beard.
We're gonna have Drew Gulak versus Silas Young.
Ooh.
Tommaso Ciampa has laid out an open challenge.
Okay.
We're gonna have Drago versus Chris Hero. We're gonna have Johnny Gargano versus Zack Sabre Jr.
Holy shit.
We're gonna have AR Fox defending the AAW Heritage Championship against Aerostar. Matt Fidget and Davey Vega face the Hooligans, and in the main event, Sami Callihan and Dave Chris take on Eddie Kingston and Homicide.
Holy crap. That is one hell of a show.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, I'm excited for that one.
And then we move on to, no we don't, because it's still Friday.
Oh, okay.
The 17th, for House of Glory X Beyond Wrestling. So this is a cross-promotion show between House of Glory Wrestling and Beyond Wrestling.
Nice.
Where a lot of the one-on-one matches are one person from each promotion, and a lot of 4-way matches bringing groups from both sides.
Cool. All right.
Together. We're going to have Anthony Gangone versus JT Dunn. We're going to have Private Party versus The Hit Squad. Sonia Strong versus Jordan Grace. EYFBO are taking on the Beaver Boys. Brian Fury taking on Jonathan Gresham. 4 Corners tag match. 2 Click versus Team Tremendous versus NYWK versus the Super Savages. We're going to have Matt Riddle versus Chuck Cold Steel O'Neil. We're going to have Hot Sauce Tracy Williams versus David Starr versus Ken Broadway versus Smiley in a 4 Corners match.
Damn.
And then we're going to have Tachi versus Chris Dickinson for the first time ever.
All right. A lot of stuff going on there.
bear with me as I wipe my face. Because I have bad allergies.
Pay no attention. It's not really happening.
Yeah, pay no attention to the man behind the tiny...
Look at your man. Now look at me.
Go back to your man.
He's not wiping his nose.
He's not me. Alright, and then we're going to go to Florida. Also on Friday.
Oh.
This one I spelled with a Y. Because I got tired of writing Friday. So I wrote Friday as French Friday. Kind of thing. Friday.
Friday. Oh, man.
Shine 35.
Hey, we got some ladies wrestling.
Alright, we're going to start off with a tag team match as Maria and Luscious
Lasha.
Take on Rhea O'Reilly and the debuting Viper.
Alright.
We're going to have Kellyanne taking on another debuting Chelsea Green. We've got a couple debuts on this one, if you haven't already noticed. There's still one more, too.
Okay.
We're going to have a rematch from Shine 34 with Tessa Blanchard taking on Rachel Ellering.
Nice.
We're going to have Sue Young versus Kaylee Ray. We're going to have a battle of former Shimmer champions as Soraya Knight is going to go on to making her Shine debut, former Shimmer champion Nicole Matthews.
All right.
We're going to have the team of BTY, I'm pretty sure that stands for Better Than You. That's Marty Bell and Jamie Jameson. They're defending the tag team championships against Evie and Shaza McKenzie. I'm doing a lot of name smushing. It's completely unintentional.
He's trying to come up with ship names or something. I don't know what you're doing.
Apparently. We're going to have Mia Yim versus Santana Garrett.
Alright.
This match is going to be, which I don't know, I didn't see anything about anything that happened at TNA events over this weekend.
Oh.
That were scheduled to happen. But this match, if Mia Yim retained the TNA Women's Championship, or Knockouts Championship, whatever they call it, over this weekend, then she would be defending against Santana Garrett at Shine 35.
Spoiler alert, she did not.
She did not, so it's not for that.
Allison Kay won.
Really? Interesting. Speaking of Allison Kay...
Can't remember what her name is.
At Shine 35, Allison Kay will be challenging Madison Eagles for the Shimmer Championship.
Wow, okay.
And in the main event, Taylor Made will defend the Shine Championship against Kelly Skater.
Alright.
And then, lastly, but not leastly, on Friday.
Oh, God.
That's 4 shows on Friday.
Wow.
You're talking Ohio,
Florida,
and Providence, Rhode Island, and Illinois.
Wow.
All having shows on Friday. And we're going to end in Cleveland, Ohio, with AIW presenting What's in the Basement? Klopek?
The fuck?
I don't know. I like some of their show names, though. We're going to have a Lucha Extravaganza tag team match. Laredo Kid and Bandolero are going to be facing El Gringo Loco and Skida Jr.
Alright.
We're going to have another tag team match as BJ Whitmer and his manager, the Duke, go against Weird World.
Alright.
We're going to have one of those ever so popular 6-way scrambles that they have all the time there.
All the time.
AIW as Jerry versus Kaplan versus Dominic Guarini versus Garrison King versus Joshua Singh versus Dr. Daniel C. Rockingham.
Alright.
Then we're going to have what should be a very entertaining match between Sanjay Dutt and Josh Prohibition.
Oh, wow.
We're going to have Veda Scott taking on MMA fighter Shayna Baszler.
Oh, okay.
We're going to have what should be an entertaining, not in the same way Sanjay Dutt versus Josh Prohibition would be entertaining, but entertaining in a different way. Brian Myers will take on Grado.
Oh, I wish it was Swoggle instead of Brian Myers, because that would be fucking hilarious.
Then Alex Daniels will be defending the Intense Championship in a 3-way match against Flamita and DJZ. And then we're also going to have Rex Brody versus EC3.
Wow.
So, lots and lots of stuff happening on Friday.
Nothing happening on Saturday.
I have nothing on. I mean, there will probably be stuff happening on Saturday, but
not stuff that we
not
cover.
the stuff that we cover. Hint, hint. If you want us to cover something, comment. We're going to talk about that later.
Yeah,
we always do.
Yeah, we'll go.
If you don't know it by now,
you don't watch.
You're not on the bandwagon.
So we're gonna finish off on Sunday, the 19th, at the Osaka-jo Hall in Japan. We have New Japan Pro Wrestling's Dominion. We've got a lot of matches set for this show, so let's just get right into it. We have you know what? I'm gonna go the other way because that's obviously gonna be the main event. So we have a 6-man tag team match where, oh boy, here we go.
This is going to be one of those ones where he has fun with the names.
Manabu Nakanishi, Satoshi Kojima,
yes,
and Hiroyoshi Tenzan
yes,
take on David Finlay, Juice Robinson, and Jay White in a 6-man tag team match. We also have in 6-man.
You didn't butcher any of those names, by the way.
Thank you. All right, I'm doing good so far.
Yeah, you had a little trouble with Dave Finlay, but
well, you know, those Irish names, man, they get me every time. Then we have another 6-man tag team match where we have Captain New Japan, Yoshitatsu, and Togi Makabe taking on Hangman Page, Yujiro Takahashi, and Bad Luck Fale.
So, New Japan versus Bullet Club.
Yeah, I just realized Hangman Page is Adam Page.
Yeah.
We have a tag team match where Yoshihashi and Tomohiro Ishii will take on Bushi and Sanada from the Ungovernables. Hiroki Goto will take on the King of Darkness Evil, the other member of the Ungovernables. We have a 4 corners tag team IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team title match.
See, I was just talking about it earlier. They have a lot of those 4-way matches. That's where a lot of Red Dragon Time Splitters stuff happened.
Yeah. Time Splitters are not in it. But we have Matt Sydal and Ricochet. We have Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly, Red Dragon. We have the Young Bucks. And we have RPG Vice. So that should be a very entertaining match. And then because he won Best of the Super Juniors, Will Ospreay will get his IWGP Junior Heavyweight match against Kishida. We have the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team titles on the line as the Bullet Club's Gorillas of Destiny defend against the Briscoes. We have Katsuyori Shibata taking on Yuji Nagata for the Never Openweight Championship. Kenny Omega will defend the IWGP Intercontinental title against Michael Elgin. And then in the main event, Kazuchika Okada will get his rematch for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship against Tetsuya Naito.
Let's go, Okada. Rainmaker on that bitch.
Rainmaker! That's it. That's all we got for results.
Yeah, thanks for watching.
And news.
Don't forget to like and comment and subscribe.
Yes, and be sure to check out all the links down in this video because there are a lot of them.
Yeah, we have all our typical links that we have
in
at the
every
description
single
of
video.
every video that will link you to all the forms of social media and other ways that you can contact us, like emails and stuff.
Also, if you don't want to watch the videos, if you want to listen to us on the go, you can check out our SoundCloud for podcast versions of every video we post throughout the week. Almost every, all of our review videos at least.
Yeah, and not last week's, because SoundCloud was being a bitch.
Well, they change every week. We don't have continuous podcasts.
I know, but I was just saying.
Yeah,
last
you
week
didn't get it
SoundCloud was just
None
being unreasonable. It's being ungovernable. Also, the other links we have down there are links to the websites of the various independent promotions that we like to plug on this show.
Indeed.
Lots of them, like ChikaraPro.com,
ROHWrestling.com,
CZWrestling.com,
LookMonoFans.com,
and lots and lots and lots and lots more, and we want to keep adding them. That's what I was saying earlier. Post in the comments, put it on our Facebook, tweet to us, email us, post it to anything that you would. It will show up in our eye holes. We will see, we want websites, Facebooks, YouTubes, any video clips, anything of promotions that you want us to talk about that we don't currently cover. So, whatever it is, if we like it, if we think it's worth covering, we're going to cover it, and you get a shout out when we start covering it.
And if you don't believe us, ask Jamie.
Yeah.
because we did it for her, because she suggested Attack Pro, and we covered our very first Attack Pro show last week.
Absolutely.
And then also, if you want to check out the rest of the videos we did this week, check out the playlist right over there next to Kevin Hawk. We have all of our 2-year anniversary videos, plus a special one. We opened some presents this week. That was fun. And then all of our usual reviews. Raw review, midweek wrap-up with NXT TakeOver results. We had the SmackDown Rundown, which was just awesome. You got to check that one out. And then this indie news with all of our independent results and upcoming shows. But thanks for watching. Be sure to join us next week for episode 105 as we move closer to Money in the Bank for WWE. We have the fallout from NXT TakeOver. Lucha Underground is getting ever so closer to Ultima Lucha. And lots more stuff and all the results of all the upcoming shows that we just talked about. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you at whatever video you decide to watch next.